Hello friends, welcome back to Saturday's show. Thank you all for tuning in to today's show. This is NRISamay, live from Los Angeles, and I'm your host, Srikanth Kocherla. As always, your enormous support is key to the success of NRISamay Community Radio. In the past, we are honored to have wonderful guests who took initiatives and leadership to do their part to the society in whatever way they could. Some people specifically, I wanted to mention a few youngsters who have decided to clean politics, like Balasaheb Darade, an NRI who went back home after Anna Hazare's movement, contested in Vidarbha, place very close to Vidarbha, and then he swept the polls, the election. And then we recently had a conversation with Nisha Singh. She was working in Siemens. She worked for Siemens, and then eventually she worked for Google. And seeing the plight of the environment and surroundings that she has seen over the years, she got motivated and contested as a counselor. And she's right now dedicating her time as a counselor for the benefit of the society. And it's a fascinating story wherein she just gets 1,500 rupees, almost getting close to 1 lakh rupees, and then going down to 1,500 rupees per month. As a counselor, she's making strides on that front. Also, we had a conversation with Ashwin Mahesh, who's right now contesting as an MLC in Bangalore, a man who has been named as the 50 people in India who will change the world. He's one among 50 people who will change the world. That's a big statement. So we had a conversation recently on NRISamay with Ashwin Mahesh. And on the other front, there are some who decided to go the charity route, and we had a conversation with Narayanan Krishnan, a CNN Hero 2010, who's taking care of mentally ill and destitute people who were put onto streets. It was a fascinating story with Narayanan Krishnan, and eventually NRISamay and friends of NRISamay have took the initiative to invite Mr. Narayanan Krishnan to Los Angeles here, and he delivered the message to the Los Angeles friends here as well. He toured United States, and that was a grand success. There are others who are spreading the message of honesty and social good in very unique ways. We were honored to have proud Indians who walked 5,000 kilometers from Kanyakumari to Delhi, and just to spread the message of honesty. It's all about personal honesty rather than pointing fingers on politicians and saying that everyone is on the wrong front. They said on a personal scale, you have to make sure that you're honest even before pointing fingers and then making a bad society. So we had conversations with proud Indians as well. And as always, Dandi March 2 and the platform where NRISamay has started up. Sri Hari Garu is a part of NRISamay who's walked 240 miles, all 240 miles from San Diego to San Francisco in 2010, in early 2011 against corruption. So we are NRISamay, and as NRIs we are trying to do our part for the betterment of society. The most important thing is I in NRI is still an Indian. So every week we try to talk to people who excel in various fields and help non-resident overseas Indians and also Indians who live in India to get connected to the guests and interact with them live. Friends, this week's discussion point is water crisis, an imminent and life-threatening situation, an alarming situation that we wanted to bring up today to our listeners. And this show is close to 1 hour, and as always, as listeners, you're free to dial into our show and be part of the discussion, or if you have a question to the panel members, we will connect you to the studio. Our number is 323-410-0162. Just to define what water crisis is all about for the benefit of listeners, in a generic term, it's used to describe a situation where the available water within a region is less than the region's demand. That's exactly how we define water crisis. Right now, many states in India are suffering from water crisis, and it has reached to levels where it's creating huge urban and rural divide. It's creating a huge divide between urban sector and the rural sector. While the urban population is mainly worried about drinking water supply, the rural population is worried about irrigation for the crops, and the trade-off and the balance is getting really tough. India is not likely to provide piped drinking water to all its citizens by 2015. That's what the research says, that India will not be in a position to provide piped drinking water supply to all its citizens by 2015 in view of acute scarcity of water, and this is really sad. Many parts of India has no access to clean drinking water, and this results in people resorting to drinking contaminated water as a compromise. Now, this situation is alarming, and today at NRISamay, we are honored to have 4 members in the panel to discuss about this important topic. And let me introduce each one of them a little bit here. We have Swati Ramgaru, an ex-Infosys employee and a volunteer for Youth for Seva organization at Hyderabad. As you all know, probably most of you are aware of Youth for Seva. If you're in Bangalore or Hyderabad or wherever it is, it's Youth for Seva is all about tapping youth who has the urge to do something for the society. Youth for Seva will give them better direction and eventually make a big difference to the society. Welcome to our show, Swati Garu. Thank you for joining today's discussion.
Thank you, Shrikant.
And we have Kiran Challapalli Garu, an ex-NRI, who worked for IBM in California, United States, and returned back home after 10 years of stay in the United States. He has been a water conservation enthusiast and has even come up with some good statistics on how natural water is being wasted and on how each one can imbibe some realistic methods to conserve water through rain water harvestation. Kiran Garu, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining in.
Thank you, Srikant.
Also, we have an eminent personality, R. Gopal Krishna Garu. He is a rainwater harvesting activist. Once again, friends, an activist. That's great to have today. To have Gopal Krishna Garu today, and he's been an energy auditor who has been advocating various methods on how to preserve water so as to help generations to come have adequate water supply. Gopal Garu, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining in today.
Thanks, Srikant and the Samay for
you.
the opportunity provided. I think we will get some good
Outcome. Yes, absolutely. We're all hoping for that. And we have an expert with us, Kumar Vedula Garu. He's been an expert on water resources, and he's the managing partner of Harit Solutions, an international consulting firm. Also, Kumar Vedula Garu is an ex-NRI who did his master's degree on water resources engineering from University of Utah. Welcome to the show, Kumar Garu. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you, Mr. Srikant. Any day I get a chance to reach out to people about water conservation is a great day for me. Thank you.
Oh, very nice one. Nice to hear that. And today's scope of discussion, friends, is rather a debate, will be on intensity of the problem, reasons for such shortage of water, and what were the mistakes committed in the past, little bit on what mistakes were committed, how can we rectify, and how citizens can really imbibe realistic solutions to start the problem. And without any further delay, I wanted to go over each one of our panel members. Swati Garu, you have been a member of Youth for Seva, and you know the potential of youth is unleashing in the recent past, and we have seen a lot of young youth getting motivated, taking up activities that matter most to the society. And I wanted to get a perspective from you on how the activity of water conservation and what kind of activities that Youth for Seva and youth are motivated towards this problem, water scarcity. If you could highlight, that would be great.
Yeah, I know there's a panel of experts and eminent people here. So you're asking me to begin. I don't know whether I should be happy or what about it, but very few in putting in my words. Like you said, 2/3 of the population, especially in India, is below the age of 35 years. That is the statistics. And most of these people really want to give their bit back to the society. But only problem is they don't know from where to do it, or they think they can't do it on their own or in the limited time. So at Youth for Seva, we are trying to get all such people together and provide them a platform basically what we do is connect people who want to do something with wherever there is need.
Okay.
So we have an environment wing which works towards a few of the, we have taken up few initiatives. Kiran has also been part of it. So basically we feel the whole problem is like, the parts of a jigsaw puzzle which are all separated out. So everybody does his bit and fills up that place. There is this big picture which is being filled up. So we are taking awareness to each home and trying to tell people what they can do, if not at a bigger scale like what Kumarji is trying, or to bring in awareness, rainwater harvesting. That's one thing we are spreading awareness about. But at the same time, what is it that they can do at a domestic level? Very simple things like reusing the water with which they wash vegetables, or what is the advantage of using front load washing machine. Simple techniques, we go door to door and spread awareness about such things.
Very good, very good. And we have Kiran here. Kiran, I just wanted to understand what's the intensity of the problem in Hyderabad, and what do you feel about this issue? I think Hyderabad with this summer luring in, it's a huge problem, right? What do you think is the intensity of the problem at Hyderabad?
Yeah, Srikant. So the intensity is huge, right? So we've grown up, people who have grown up in Hyderabad know how we never had any issues with water. At one point, I remember some people even used to call it the city of lakes, right? We have, the city used to be abundant with full of these, what we call as, the mini lakes. And there used to be never an issue of water at all being a problem, right? But these days, if you see, the urbanization, of course, is one factor, but there's a good way and a bad way as well, because people have been tapping into the groundwater that has been there for, if you go back 15 years ago, you would hit the water, if you dig a bore well, you would hit water about 200 feet down, right?
Right.
But now people are having to dig a borewell all the way up to 1200 feet, and in one instance, in a particular locality, after 1200 feet, they still couldn't find water.
Wow.
So is pretty, it's a pretty damning evidence that we are getting into a really bad state here, and unless we start doing something, start looking at it as this is a crisis, right? We don't look at it at this point, because at this point the government provides the water at a pretty cheap rate. If you look at it, even the tankers that we pay for, I would say it's not as expensive as it should be. The water is very scarce, and that is not correlated with the price that we are having to pay right now. So because of that, people don't really use it in a careful manner, right? People don't have that that feeling right now wherein that, okay, this is something, if I don't use it properly, I'd have to pay more. That kind of a feeling, or that feeling that, okay, if I don't use it properly, it will be very difficult for my kids in the future, right? That kind of feeling is not there. So that has to be brought up. So, I mean, water problem for me, the way I look at it, there are, 3 fronts that you can try and solve the problems. Number one, conservation or proper use that Swati just mentioned a little bit ago. And a number of things apart from what she mentioned. Basically the idea being that you teach people to value water and use it judiciously, right? And number 2 is recycling. Recycling is also something that Swati mentioned about reusing. You can do it on a smaller scale inside your home, like you wash your vegetables and then you reuse it for maybe watering your plants or something of that sort. But, on the larger scale, you got to start implementing sewage treatment plants and, other kind of treatment plants, which would then reroute some of that water back to, areas where, like for washing your cars or watering your plants, that can be reused. So that is another second part of, what needs to be done. And the third part, we need to find alternative sources, right? Right now, we are only dependent on the municipal water, once that is, or the bore water, and if that is not sufficient, we go and buy the water from the tankers. But the reality is, even the tanker waters, at some point, it's coming from some source, and that source will expire, especially if we are using it in the larger scale every day, because, the bores are getting dry, more and more people are going for these water tankers. After some time, you won't get that water as well. Even now, in some localities, I've been told that people are having to wait for 2 to 3 days. If they order the tanker today, the water comes, a couple days later.
Wow.
So the alternative sources, that is where, what I have been working on, right? Which is one alternative source that we have, one that we have for free is rainwater. We have rainwater, it comes and, from what I read up and, other experts have also told me is that 94% of the water, especially in Hyderabad, 94% of the water that comes from the rain just washes away. It goes out of the city, doesn't seep in. Only 6% water goes in.
I'm seriously trying to see how bad the situation is. You're saying that earlier, when you dig up 2,000 feet, you used to get water, and then right now, even if it is 1,200 feet, there's no trace of any water there. That's seriously alarming. Let me quickly go over to Gopal Krishna Garu. Gopal Krishna Garu, if you could just introduce about what kind of activity you do at Hyderabad, and if you could give us a sense of the intensity of this problem, that'll be one good perspective from your side.
A lot of good points have been told by Swati and Kiran already.
Right.
What we do is, as they have indicated, a lot of water bodies were there in Hyderabad, like our Gandipet and our Hussain Sagar and other lakes. All these lakes were polluted and a lot of construction, the sizes were brought down drastically. And about 10 years back, when the government was there, they have introduced some schemes as Miru, lot of water harvesting pits were made in the colonies and houses. But afterwards, all those things were not maintained. In our colony, for example, in Shantinagar, where we stay, earlier about, as Kiran was telling, when you put about 100, 150 feet, you used to get ample water. But for the past 10 years, even if you go for about 700, 800 feet, you don't get ample water here. So the water levels in the ground have gone down drastically. And when we go and do some audits in some hospitals or in houses, we find a lot of misuse of water. People, even in some government offices, people have municipal water supply, they have aquaguard and other things. Still, they don't drink that water. They buy bottled water. They buy bottled mineral water.
Right.
I mean, which takes much higher consumption of water to prepare that water. Some water is a scarce resource. They don't understand that. For example, in hospitals, they use municipal water in the toilets. There will be more water because of the bad maintenance, because of this thing. Open well water will be there. They will not look at it. They will only take. I don't want to name the hospital. They use about 10 lakh liters of municipal water per day to pump from all the way from Krishna. The price they pay is about 35 rupees plus 12 rupees for the sewerage charges, about 47, about 16, 17 lakhs of water bill they pay. But more than that, it is waste of resources. Because of that, so many poor people around Hyderabad, in Hyderabad you see development on only areas like Banjara Hills or Jubilee Hills. You don't find, the development in other areas. The people have to wait for hours together to get one tanker of water, or the borewells got dried up, and people quarrel for the water. The poor people, they don't have, this thing. So the other guys, they misuse the water. For example, they wash the cars. So, but there are some good, the new flats, new bungalows which are coming, they are taking a lot of these things, as Kiran has told, the rainwater harvesting. Although rainwater harvesting is compulsory, mandatory, still people do not take it seriously. In our buildings, in Shantinagar, some 2-3 buildings we constructed, in every this thing we made a rainwater harvesting kit. And normally the water reduces in the summer, but it doesn't get completely dried up. The water gets charged. So people just think, the moment you turn the tap, the water comes. They don't know that it is pumped from Krishna. All the rainwater goes to the reverse and it goes all the way. You have to bring it back, you have to treat and give it. And rainwater, which is so pure and so good, they don't take proper steps to collect it.
Wow.
So these are the few points.
Excellent. Well said, Gopal.
So what is more important is we should, implement these things. not only this water, the material what we use, the food what we use, the coffee what we drink, the paper what we use, they are all virtual water. The consumption of virtual water is about 2,500 liters per person per day and 5,000 liters for a non-vegetarian diet. So these things also we should look at in the bigger scale.
Yeah.
Coffee, tea, drinking, all these things are very important. So I tell the children, don't even waste one metuku of rice because it is so much this thing. They just, look unhappily at me, but
Exactly.
I can't help much about it.
Yeah, excellent
What is
point.
important? Right.
Yeah, as such, you told that there were programs like Niru Miru. Implementation is where.
But after that, it was completely, all the harvesting pits made at that time, we do not know where they have gone. Good thing they have done, but the maintenance, the commitment is not there. The political will is not there. They try to say that I'll get it for Krishna, I'll get it from pumping water all the way. For example, in the park, in our front of the house, they get water in a diesel tanker, they put a diesel pump and they pump this thing instead of drilling a bore there and, or putting a sewage treatment plant and putting that water for the gardening, which is very much healthy. I've seen in some of the complexes, my home, Navadipa, they use the sewage water plant for their gardening, they're used for the car washing, they're used for all those applications. So, the commitment and will are important. At every level.
That's correct.
Especially we find that is lacking in the government level.
Exactly. No. I've got some excellent perspectives. It's like Swati Ram Garu has been mentioning about lack of awareness, and they, as Youth for Seva, are trying to educate people, bring in awareness, try to tell them that this is how they can conserve some water. And we have Kiran Garu, who has been talking about the intensity of the problem and how he has come up with 3 different aspects of how that could be addressed. And I'm seeing you have brought in a very excellent perspective that it's all tied to corruption, like hospitals literally wasting the water.
Water.
Yeah, it's like paying. Yeah, paying 35 rupees and then some 12 rupees as sewage charges is so insane. Yeah, and then wasting liters and liters, gallons and of water it doesn't make any sense. Now let me come back to Kumar Vedulagaru. Kumar Vedulagaru, you had Harit Solutions in back home in India, and you've been an expert in this domain of water, analyzing the water crisis. Can you put in some perspective on where are we heading actually? The issue seems to be really intense. I wanted to hear from you, your perspective on what's the problem, what's the intensity.
Sure. I would like to begin with some of the comments made by Ms. Swati. Like she said, yes, there's a paradigm shift that's very much required as far as common people's perspective goes. Because I would like to bring 2 points here to your notice. First is, till now, common people in India have been thinking that it's the big government's job to provide for water. In the last 60 years of independence, since independence, that's how things have been going on, and the common man expects the big government to do it. But that has to change because, as we have seen, that system doesn't work anymore, and we have to take it to the micro level where people have to, start conserving water at the house or the individual level. First thing.
Right.
Second is water and economic good has to be, realized, and recently. The Ministry of Water Resources, which is part of the Government of India, has come up with draft National Water Policy 2012. And in the first 2 pages itself, you would see that they have clearly stated that things are not going to change and we're not going to, overcome the crisis unless we realize that water is no more a free commodity. It has to be realized by every citizen of India that it is an economic good and it has to be conserved. Okay, so these 2 things have to be driven to the common people's perspective, and that has to change. And that's the paradigm shift. And like Swati was saying, there's a lot of awareness raising that needs to go.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, moving on to the second, speaker or the panelist, like Mr. Kiran said, there was over-exploitation of surface and groundwater in and around Hyderabad and, in fact, most other parts of India that resulted in drying up of lakes, and then people don't find groundwater even after, they try to dig, 800 foot, 900 foot, or even in, some extreme cases, 1,200. So that's basically over-exploitation of groundwater and surface water, and most of it is illegal. Because what shocked us was more than half of the users or homeowners in India don't even obtain a permit from the government before they go for a bore well. So which is alarming and which is really sad. So now, let me move on to some of the comments made by our other panelists, Mr. Gopal Krishna. Like he said, bottled water, yes. Every liter of bottled water, requires about 3 liters of water, in the process of, manufacturing the bottle and then filling it up, and then before it is available, ready for you to buy it off the shelf, it requires about 3 liters of water. So the more bottled water that you're using is, in a way, you are actually consuming 3 times of that, or 3 times of water is being used up elsewhere in the process of making it available to you. So which is most people are not aware of this. So we have some stats, not only people in India, even people in the U.S., every single day about 98 million, water bottles are used every single day. So just imagine, the quantity of water that's being, consumed every single day, and maybe, very, very simple and effective things that, like making common people understand these simple things, and then, people like Swati and, in fact, people like us too, we should, let people know that this is the case, and then we have to tell them solutions of how to get around it. Let's say if you are in the U.S., instead of, you can try this. There's a website by the name VTAP. Quickly look for that. It's vtap.wordpress.com.
Right.
If you're an Android user, you can even look up for maps on the nearest available public water fountain, which is trust me, it's safe water. You can, consume it without any doubt. I would, and I strongly recommend. So if you're an Android user, or if you can log onto this website, you can actually find a public fountain somewhere, maybe just around the corner. Thousands of people have been using these kind of websites, or have used this service, and they're happy, and maybe you can be one of them.
What's that website? If you could, what's that website, Kumar?
Sure. It's VTAP, W as in Wisconsin, E as in England, T as in Texas, A as in Andrew, P as in Pamela, dot WordPress, Word, W-O-R-D, P-R-E-S-S.com.
Okay.
VTAP.wordpress.com.
Excellent. Okay.
It's linked to Google Maps. The reason I'm telling this, most of our listeners, my understanding is, have an IT background. Probably more than half of them are working in the IT industry or something. Or so this might interest them. So I just wanted to let you know this tip, which you might like it and try it. And once you like it, we have more such tips on our we wanted to put it on our website and in the near future.
Yeah.
And
very good, very good.
Thank you. And just one last thing that I wanted to comment on Dr. Gopal Krishna's comments on Miru program by one of our previous government program. In fact, the Recharge Fix program was based on a government order, and the material that was required or behind that was based on one of our consultant work in Visakhapatnam. Dr. Velaga Venkateswara Garu, who is our chief consultant for rainwater harvesting in India, he's the man behind that Recharge Fix program, and in fact he showed Recharge Pit in his house and how it works, and he has been doing it for more than 15 years now, and he has provided all those technical details and drawings and stuff to our former chief minister, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, and then the mistake that the bureaucracy has done is what was successful in Vizag that our consultant has given, that they try to enforce it across the state without consulting us or without really taking into account the finer technical details. So that's where the program has gone wrong, because what works for Vizag is not necessarily a good solution for everywhere else, because rainwater harvesting is specially designed for a recharge. It depends primarily on the soil profile.
Oh.
So that's where a technical issue, with that program. And in fact, the BO number 350MA, which forces or enforces, rainwater harvesting pits in every existing or new home in Hyderabad and in most cities in Andhra Pradesh, which have plot areas more than 300 meters, is not viable, is not practical, because the soil profile might not permit, or it's just of no much use. So yes, policy mistakes have also contributed to some of these disasters.
Very good, because I was just coming. The next one I wanted to come was what was the reason for this problem, that there should be some historical reasons for this existing problem. A lot of places they don't even get drinking water supply for 2-3 days, which Kiran has mentioned already. And I want to jump to Swati Garu one more time. We have excellent panelists today, one being an expert on water harvesting, one being an activist, one being an individual who's very fond of rainwater harvesting, and we have Swati Garu, who's been motivating youth to participate in all these programs. Swati Garu, I just wanted to come and then come back and then ask you, what kind of activities did you do? Can you share some experiences on how you went to how the Youth for Seva reached out to people in educating about this crisis?
Yeah, so usually we have run this program mostly in apartment complexes. So we do a door-to-door campaign. So sometimes we do it for, promotion of cloth bags. Sometimes it's about water. Typically, these what solutions we always suggest, they're almost what people know, but they've just overlooked it. Like we are debating about why do we have this and why. It's more like all of us have forgotten our responsibilities. Every day when I leave my tap running or I drink water, I don't sit and think the other person who might not even be struggling even for that pot of water, right? Like what Kiran said, like 2 days they're waiting for water or something. Yeah. So it's just that we in this hustle bustle of life, we're not giving a thought to what simple things can solve those problems. So we just go to every door, knock and tell we want to talk for some time, and just try to remind people that simple things they do can go a long way in combating such problems. One thing is, of course, we are searching solutions for them. Kiran said 3 points very beautifully. One thing is how we can treat something as the root cause. So trying to get rid of the problem by doing very simple things.
Exactly, and it surprises me. It's like a lot of people. I was having conversation with Kiran yesterday. Everyone is busy in their own lives. It's so intense. It's so tough. How tough is it for youth for Seva? I know it's really a great deed to motivate people, come in, jump in, and then contribute their own part for the society. I've seen your YouTube videos. You're an excellent orator. And what's the kind of response you get? It's like you explain problem, say that it's intense for the first 2 days or 3 days, they get motivated to do something. And how are you making sure that it sustains and people understand this intensity? Do you have any feedback from people saying that this is what they have done, and you have any success stories?
Yeah, see, that's a very good question what you asked, because even when I got into this field, quit my job and came here, most people ask me the question that why do you want to do it at this age? You can do it at 40 or 50. So I don't know what is tomorrow, but so it's a very difficult thing to do, and like you said, we plan to do more sustained activities in Youth for Seva. It's not any event-based thing. We try to bring up such initiatives continually. So every month we go to the same houses, see if there is a difference. And sometimes we run, like last year, from March 1st to 7th, right, we ran the Environment Week. It was just a very simple Facebook event, and we asked people to sign in and follow one rule per day. Like one day can be take the stairs day. Second day can be switch off all the lights. So some people came back and shared. We have shared it in even our website. So when they did it for a week, it almost became a habit for them. So they look around, okay, where is the switch on now? I have to go sharing it. So this is I have to go switch it off. So this is the only way you can actually bring change in people, by exposing them to it again and again. First things first, we have to bring that change in our volunteers, because still when they come, many people might be doing the same thing, including myself. Bring the change in ourselves and then motivate people. So trying to keep it more of, we interfering in it again and again, like go every month, put up workshops for them, try to see what is working out. That is what we are trying to do. I mean, of course, it's a challenge. Some people even slam the door on our faces saying, you have come to tell us what we already know. Oh. But there is definitely some success rate in it.
Excellent. Now, I wanted to go to other panel members. See, a lot of problems. It's not that people don't understand that there are bad politics. It's not that people don't understand that wasting the water is waste. But a lot of times, the solutions are not realistic. Okay, solutions are not simple to implement. It's like they've got used to it for years. So it's not so easy to tell them that this is one-point solution. As Kumar Garu has told, that the soil profile is very important. So though somebody comes up with a great program like Niru and Miru, it's not always realistic that things will take shape. So I wanted to understand, Kiran, from you, what is a realistic solution that comes as you are an individual, you are an enthusiast in water conservation, right? I want to understand from you a simple, realistic solution. It should be, it's not like, let's talk about, the government has taken a program wherein they said that we have to migrate from the usual bulbs to a CFL bulb. It's not realistic because a CFL bulb is expensive. Now, neither the government subsidizes it, nor people understand that it's cheap, right? There's a big trade-off, right? You say with CFL bulb, you can save 5 years worth of electricity. But it's not realistic because CFL bulb is expensive. Now, I want to understand what is a realistic solution from your perspective. Kiran, go ahead. Okay, I think Kiran is right now on mute. So Gopal Krishna.
Hello.
Yeah, Kiran, go ahead.
Hi. Sorry, I was on mute.
No problem.
So that's an excellent question. What I was going to say about that is that we have come to a situation where we have to look at from a bottom line perspective. That's where we are now. We are in a capitalistic world, and materialism, that's the biggest, the most highest priority. We give it the highest priority to these days. But even there, in this, 5 years back, probably it wouldn't make sense. But right now, because of the situation where we are, because of the way we have misused, and that's the way I would say it, we have misused our own water resources, and we have excessively used it. In this current scenario, it makes a lot of economic sense to have rainwater harvesting implementations, right? So let's take a hypothetical case study here, all right? Let's consider an apartment, all right?
Okay.
So let's say the apartment uses about 10,000 liters of water a day, okay? And then let's say the apartment roof surface, the roof, the area of the roof, total surface area, let's assume it's 500 square meters, all right? Just for easier purposes. And then, because nowadays, as you know, the reality is, in Hyderabad at least, every household, every apartment has to go for water tankers, water from tankers for a large section. When I say large section, a few months in a year. But let's just say, just for the sake of it, let's say it's only for 30 days in a year, all right? So 30 days in a year, they need to get 10,000 liters per day, and they have to buy it from these water tankers. And the cost is, if the cost of each of these tankers currently, and it will only go up, is for 5,000 liters you have to pay 800 rupees, right? So per day it's 1,600 rupees. That is like 48,000 rupees for a 30-day month.
Right.
So now let's take the case study. I mean, let's go through without rainwater harvesting. What is the cost, an annual cost, okay, that you have to shell out to get that water? So the total rainwater harvested, is obviously zero. The number of days that you're getting the tankers, just to go back to it, is 30 days. And so the first, the annual cost is 48,000 rupees, right? If you do rainwater harvesting, that same apartment with 500 square meters of roof area, you can harvest 3 lakh liters of water. And this is on the assumption that Hyderabad gets about 800 millimeters of rain. Again, this is just a hypothetical case, right? Let's assume it's 800 millimeters of rain. In that case, you will get 3 lakh liters of water just from rain. Free water, right? Wow. Of course, for the first year, you do have an investment. You have to dig the pit and create that, some tank where you store that water, and maybe you even recharge your bore. There are n number of ways to do it, and Kumar Vedula can give you a lot more detailed, idea of how to do this. Yes. But let's assume they store the water in a tank, right? The typical cost is 25,000 rupees for the whole setup, right? Okay. For 25,000 rupees, you can store X amount of about 4,000 liters of, you can create a sump, right? So with the rainwater, you can store all of that in that sump. So now, for the first year cost, that rainwater that you save, the 3 lakh liters of water, is sufficient to offset the water tankers that you're purchasing for 30 days, right? Pretty much 10,000 liters per day multiplied by 30 days, that's 3 lakh liters. Right. So what's the cost now? Instead of paying 48,000 rupees for the first year to the tankers, you're paying only 25,000 rupees. That's the first year, mind you. Right. The second year onwards, right, if you are a tanker, you're still depending on the tankers. Number one, you'd probably be buying the tankers for more number of days, but let's still assume it's only 30 days, right? And let's still assume it's only 48,000. And in these days, the price should go up, but let's still assume it's 48,000 rupees. Right. Now, if you go back with, if an apartment has rainwater harvesting, the second year onwards, the cost is negligible. All you got to do is do some cleaning up, and some maybe the top, the sand layer that's there, or maybe not even the sand layer. You just clean up the gutters and make sure there's no trash on the roof, and you just clean it up, and that's it. And right, so the cost, you save almost 50,000 rupees annually. So economically, it makes perfect sense. This is the time. This is the perfect time to get this, this whole rainwater harvesting, implementation to go on in an exponential scale, to be implemented all over Hyderabad. This is the time.
Excellent. So Kiran has been saying that if apartment folks take the initiative, they can spend a few bucks, like 25,000 rupees for the rainwater harvesting setup, and then get things rolling, and eventually they save a ton of money. It's like almost spending 50,000 rupees for 1 year for 1 year on tankers. Rather than that, they can set up a rainwater harvesting setup in their own apartments and get it going. And eventually, it's just working on the maintenance costs and nothing more than that. Excellent. So I've got wonderful perspectives of how youth can educate first on a day-to-day scale, how they can save water. And then I came back to Kiran Garu, who's talking about how apartments in a smaller section of people, how they can take an initiative, set up a reverse rainwater harvesting plant in their own apartments and benefit out of it. Now I want to come to Gopal Krishna Garu. I wanted to touch up on few things on what government scale, reaching out to a broader segment of people, and how they can basically pitch in and help get this setup done. Rainwater harvesting, when we're talking about rainwater harvesting, of course there are some glitches of what if there is no rain, there's nothing that you could store, right? But there are so many things. Can you talk about what the government can do? And we have been watching the corruption at various levels. We have been watching the real estate boom, which is literally killing, and the rainwater is not seeping in. So talk about all these perspectives and come up with an idea on how the government can help avoid this problem.
Okay. Some good points are already told. And the apartments and flats, one more point what I would like to tell you is, we should use water efficient fixtures, that is dual flush toilets, good pipelining, good water taps, branded water taps, so that there won't be any leakages.
Okay.
Many times when we go to factories or when we go to some commercial buildings, they'll be using a lot of water there. But when we make a water audit study, we find that the leakages are about 30 to 40% in many cases. Are you listening, no?
That is too much, yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah, it's very clear, sir.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
I can hear you, sir. I can hear you. Hello?
I think he dropped off, Srikanth.
Yeah, I think he can come back. We have a listener with us right now. So please go ahead, please tell your name, and then if you have a question, ask the question, please.
Okay. My name is Srihari from Los Angeles. I have two questions actually. So the first question is about the people's attitude towards this important issue. Right? It seems like we are heading towards an abundant kind of a culture. For example, if we see in United States, we use everything too much gas, too much water, too much electricity, and it seems like in many areas that's where India is heading because of the boom in the economics. So if this is how it's going to be, and on the other side we have such a huge crisis, how difficult or how is it even possible to convince people that this is such a critical issue? I think some of it is what Swati has been touching on. So after I hear the answer, I'll ask my next question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, Kumar, if you want to pitch in, that will be great. Yeah, go ahead, Kumar.
Awesome. Just like I said, the Ministry of Water Resources has come up with a draft national policy on water, dated year 2012. That clearly, like I said, emphasizes on making sure that water is recognized as an economic good, and it has to be priced well enough that people will start conserving even at the individual level. First. Second, till now in India, electricity has been subsidized so much, and that has contributed to overexploitation of groundwater for irrigation purpose. If you would see in most rural parts of India, the reason why most farmers depend on irrigating their lands on groundwater is because your electricity is almost free, which cannot be going forward. like the state of Gujarat has already, started cutting back on subsidies, and now Gujarat is a wonderful example of how things can be turned around, and then, you can turn the tables, and you say that, no, that's not going to work anymore. And it's a success story. And that's how other states, will follow in the very future. So I am very optimistic that going forward, the government and the people will take all the necessary, steps to conserve water, and it is very much possible, and it will happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just another question. We keep, now and then we keep hearing about combining all the rivers, Indian rivers, major rivers, and making sure water is properly preserved and utilized before it goes to the ocean. Is it practical? Are we going to see it in next few years or few decades? Can you tell your opinion?
Absolutely. Like I said, the same national water policy, it also speaks about your question. Let me tell you some stats here. India has 17% of the world's population and only 4% of world's renewable water resources. Okay? And this 4% is very unevenly distributed in space and time. Let me repeat that. India has 17% of world's population and only 4% of world's renewable water resources, and even that 4% is unevenly distributed in space and time. The only way, or the only practical way to get over it, or overcome this situation is interlinking of rivers, where water can be transferred successfully from one basin to the other, and that is going to be actively promoted going forward. This, draft policy that I'm kind of referring to is on the website of the Ministry of Water Resources. I guess that will answer more of your, similar questions, I guess. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Srikant.
Yeah, Gopalgar, go ahead, sir.
I come back. There was a problem with the phone.
No problems. Please go ahead.
So to continue the steps, what the government can take or what the private management can take.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is, in the industries and the commercial establishments, there is not much value for water. For example, the price, what they pay for the water is negligible for them. So they don't have the respect for the water. So, and they don't have respect for the energy also in many places. So, there is a lot of awareness these days about the green concept, the water efficiency, energy efficiency, green rated buildings. All these concepts are coming, and people are aware. And some companies are committed, but majority of the companies, the commitment levels are still not there. So when we go and study, when we conduct the audit, we show how much water leakages are there, how much money unnecessarily they are spending to pump up the water, and when we give the figures, what is their investment and what will be their payback period, and different proposals about the water conservation, then they appreciate. Some companies, they are very much committed, like ITC, Visakhapatnam Steel. Their specific water consumptions are very low compared to they are in par with the world standards. There are good companies, they are again the bad companies. And especially, our government policies, they told 10% reduction in the municipal tax if you have a rainwater harvesting system. That is what they committed in GO number 66. You get 10% this thing if you have a solar hot water system. But never, we put these things about 4 or 5 years back. We mentioned about the GOs, nothing, no this thing. They say, but forget about all those, subsidies and other things. In our own interest, as Mr. Kiran was telling. It makes business sense. It makes environment sense. And there should be some strict, rules also for the people who waste water just because they have money. A stage will come where you have money, but you don't have the water to drink, nor you have the energy to drink. So this is the most important point, what we have to drive in people's mind. Because of our lifestyle, because of our materialism, least importance is given to energy and least importance is given to the water. Why only this crisis only of late? urbanization has increased, population has increased. I mean, water resources are, polluted. Many times plants are not there, proper utilities are not there. In recently one coffee plant we saw near Guntur, the fields around the plant, they were getting, black water. They were, how the Coca-Cola was stopped in Kerala. In fact, it was a famous case. So in Kerala, instead of having lot of rainwater, still people spend a lot of money on rainwater harvesting. They go for the rainwater harvesting systems and other things so that they get good quality of water.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So wonderful point. You're saying that Keralites are very focused on.
Every day you get rain there, but still they give so much focus on rainwater harvesting. They give so much on solar water. Palakkad was the district where implemented the CFL Act in majority of their buildings. From government side, now they are building ECPC codes, that is the green rating for the building. Buildings who are having less energy, who are consuming less energy of water, they are giving the star rating. Some of the buildings in Hyderabad, they are getting those stars. The LEED certification is there, another one is the
Yep. So we have
certification is there.
We have a caller waiting for us. Let me patch in.
Okay, please.
1 second here. So, sir, you are on air right now. Please tell your name and your location, and please go ahead with your question, sir.
Hi, my name is Poli Reddy, calling from North Carolina. So, my question is do you guys have any experience or idea about water meters implementation for apartments? Is there any benefit if you use water meters?
So, can someone take that question, sir? Kumar Garu, can you answer that question, please?
Sure. Yes, there is a lot of advantages of putting water meters in place. In fact, we have supported an apartment in KPHP Colony, Phase 6, Hyderabad to do that. That will ensure pricing based on till now apartments they're used to equally distributing their common maintenance charges, right? If there are 10 flats, whatever common you have for utilities, the pumping water from the ground to the overhead tank, all of that is shared equally. No matter who is using more or who is using less, you end up paying the same. But once you have meters, we have seen that you're being charged for only on pro rata basis, whatever you use, you pay for that in that proportion. So that has solved a good number of issues that the typical apartment meetings. We have done that with another 3 sites from Downham and also in 6th phase. So yes, that helps a lot.
Very good.
Okay.
So,
to add to what Mr. Kumar has told, in Visakhapatnam, one of the flats, they were consuming about every day 1 tanker of water before the meters were fixed. Once the meters were fixed to all the individual apartments, the consumption has come down by about 1/5 of that. So that is a practical case where I have seen.
Okay, nice
Once
to know
everything
that.
is metered, you have to pay for it. Then you have to be very cautious. So metering is always necessary, although many times not done.
very good. Poli Reddy Garu, I hope you got the answer. You have anything to follow up with that real quick?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Poli Reddy Garu. So wonderful. It's like I've got wonderful perspectives from Gopal Krishna Gari. He has mentioned about a couple of GOs and how the government has taken up some initiatives and what they have come up with. And there is one other live listener who's been asking a question here. So he is asking, he's Suresh from Hyderabad. What's the panel's opinion on urban irregular development? Any awareness programs being conducted to bring in that we have to bring in government policies in terms of water harvesting regulations on built-up, etc. So, do we have any awareness to bringing in government policies in terms of water harvesting? And also, his question goes to any community-based program we need to conduct to bring awareness to people, not going to door, which is really, really difficult and reaching very limited people. So twofold questions. One, Mr. Gopal Krishna Garu can answer, is the government policy, any topic about government policies in bringing awareness about water harvesting. And Swati Garu, once Gopal Krishna Garu is done, if you could talk about community-based programs rather than door-to-door campaigns. Gopal Garu, please go ahead.
Government policies now in the municipal district, the GO is there already, it is mandatory, and they give the permission to the building only when it is implemented, the new building. But in the old buildings, it is not, implemented. So they have to get a GO and see that in the old buildings also these things are. And actually they have collected a lot of money, nearly about 20 crores. There was a recently article at Hyderabad, the Hyderabad municipal district, and they have not spent that money. Only part of that was spent on the rainwater harvesting and everything. About 20 crores were collected and they were misused for other activities. So, not much commitment from the government. They are only very serious to get it or pump it from different long distances and supply the water to the district. And to tell you, it is really in a very bad shape, especially in the suburbs. Many people have migrated to this thing, thinking that they will be getting work here, but unfortunately decisions are pathetic. As water as a resource, you can see as a different classes. One is for the common man, one is for the higher district. So the equality is nowhere near. And as everybody says, in our country, there are no good policies. Unfortunately, there are no good policies. Countries like Singapore, they are quite comfortable with this. Although their population, urbanization is increased, everything is in control. They are using desalinated water and all these plants, sewerage plants and other things. But here, other day recently in one factory, I suggested those people, let us go for a sewerage treatment plant and use that water for the other less users. But he was little hesitant that there will be resistance from the workers. It is a food manufacturing factory. They didn't go for it. So they think it is a cheaper commodity. And people's perspectives are different. The economic, the lifestyles, they make a lot of, they put a lot of restrictions on your energy and water use. Okay.
Got that. Now, thanks,
Right.
Swati. I think we are just past 1 hour right now. And Swati, can you quickly jump in and then answer the question regarding conducting awareness programs rather than going door to door, which is really, really difficult?
Yeah, so one is being easy difficult, the other one is what is effective. So why we started doing it door to door is, if I tell them, hey, I'm running an awareness workshop, I'll teach you how to save water, you really don't know how many people are going to come. Honestly speaking, if I wouldn't have been in that and somebody would come and tell me, probably I would feel I'll still sit and Google it up or see what I can do instead of, you never know, it's not in your thing how many people will come. So why we go door to door is, out of 50 houses you reach, you might recognize 4 people, identify them who want to do this kind of work. So it's kind of like empowering people in the community to touch base in their own community. So then we follow it up with community-based awareness talks. And the other thing we are trying to do now is trying to empower people through a very powerful weapon that Anna Hazare has given us. So we are doing RTI awareness sessions. How you can file RTI, what are the things, what can you ask. So where do we have schemes and how we can go about. So that's one more team we are forming. So Suresh is probably welcome since he's here in Hyderabad. So that's one more way we are trying to tackle the problem. So both the bottom-up approach as well as the top-down approach.
Excellent. And Swati, can you refer to any website where people can go in and then register as a volunteer or help in these efforts? Can you give a quick insight on that?
Yeah, sure. So our website is youthforseva.org, which is YOUTHFOR and SEVA. And on Facebook, we are Youth for Seva Hyderabad. So anybody can just join the group, and the link to volunteer is there on the main page of our website.
Very good. Youthforseva.org. And on Facebook, it is Youth for Seva Hyderabad. Friends, really, you got to pitch in here. This problem is getting really intense, and I hope all the listeners around the world will definitely respond to this call. Now we have one other listener. His name is Pradeep from Machilipatnam. Sir, how can we save water in agricultural farms during heavy rains and floods. Can you pitch in, Kumar Garu, on this? And also, Kumar Garu, I think you are on a speakerphone. Can you pick up the phone and then get closer, because I think your voice is little resonating there inside the room, looks like. Can you please do that?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. Is it better now?
A lot better, yes.
Okay. Yes, farmers or people living in rural parts of India can, harvest water by, measures like contour ponds, or, there's something, some of these structures can actually, detain water for quite some time till it can be properly, used for irrigation. Or check dams is another, structure that farmers in several parts of India use. So these two are what come to my, on top of my mind. These two things, is what I could immediately, recommend or think of.
Very good.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Kumar Garu. And then there's little break in what Kumar Garu had said. Swati or Gopal Garu, can you repeat what Kumar Garu tried to say? That I think there's a little bit of distance.
In Ibrahimpatnam, I have seen they were having some agricultural farms.
Mm-hmm.
So they made a big tank-like thing, about 40,000-50,000 liters, and they put canvas cover into that, PVC sheet into that, and that is used as a temporary water storage tank near the agricultural farm. Government also has supported to create some bunds and other things and certain tanks like this. So whenever there are some heavy rains, the water gets collected in that, and that water can be used later for the agriculture purpose and other things.
Right.
Government also supported these things. These things were made about 2-3 years back. They make a water, they dig it about 20-30 feet deep and about 30 feet around. And in that they put a PVC sheet. And there the water gets collected, whatever rainwater or excess water comes, it is diverted to that. It is collected in a low place.
Very good.
Creating artificial risk.
Very good. So for all the panel members, is it okay if we take another 10 minutes of your time, sir, please?
That should be fine. Sure. As long as it serves some good purpose.
Okay, great, awesome. So, sir, for Gopal Garu, this question is for you from Suresh from Hyderabad. He's saying Chennai is implementing successfully rainwater harvesting as mandatory. Why not in Hyderabad? What's stopping from Hyderabad? Can you bring in a little bit perspective on what happens in Chennai and why?
Hyderabad also it is mandatory only now, but earlier days it was not mandatory. At that time many people have not done. See, this is mandatory for the past 4-5 years. Before that it was not mandatory to do it in all these houses. Now only recently 3-4 years back, the GO has come that whichever houses are more than 500 square meters, it is mandatory. And even the solar hot water systems are also mandatory now. In all piping, at least you have to make the piping. Even if you don't put a solar water system, all right. In Madras and other things, Bangalore and other things, the governments are committed. In Bangalore, in about 28,000 schools, they have made rainwater harvesting these things. Karnataka schools, there was a program. They took initiative and in every school they did rainwater harvesting, and they made the students, they drink those water because they don't have to get boiled water or anything. So this is the commitment of the government. And unfortunately, Chennai, it is also made, it is like this thing they do it, like a first law, it is a commitment. But here many people, they send and whatever advice we give, to some extent they implement, I show them also practically when they come and interact with me where we have done, what were the advantages. But here the government are always busy with the other better activities than focusing on the core issue.
Very well said. Very well said. Definitely, if it is a serious crisis, that means historically there are people who's definitely there's something wrong on that front. So let me ask one of the questions. This is for this question is for Swati Garu. Sorry, there are a bunch of people who are sending questions right now. Swati Garu, they're asking, there are a lot of 5K runs and 10K runs that happen, and why in the world there are not many different people from various walks of life, like film stars and other people, they're not pitching in for water conservation. Why not Youth for Seva take up a 5K run for water awareness this summer? Is there something you could answer, please?
So they want us to take up a run. Yeah, one thing is, yeah, that's a good thing, but I really don't know how much impact. Nowadays, if you see, just today I was seeing, they made a run against accident-free things last week. Again, this week there is one more for caste system. So, lot of these things can spread out. But what is the impact and how sustainable it is? And like somebody pointed out already in the list, I think you only said Shrikant. They might remember it for 2-3 days and then they go back to the same thing.
Yeah.
So, what is a better way of reaching out to people and seeing that it is sustained so that you bring about a change? I mean, today we might reach out only to 300 people. But tomorrow those 300 may reach out to, even 5 each you reach out to 1,500 people. So you're still growing and reaching out to more people. That is the idea. But yeah, we did few runs in the past, like once we took the cause of Jaipur foot, for lame people and things.
Very well.
So this is something maybe we can think about.
Very well said. Sustainability is very critical. It's not about bringing in a movement and then forgetting it. It's all about taking it gradually, step by step. Very well said. The other day we had a conversation with few people who were saying that the Jan Lokpal movement took a huge leap and then it suddenly slowed down. So he was concerned that movements are coming in and people like it eventually slides down. What are the steps we can take to make sure the movement sustains for a longer time? And you've got a very good perspective there. It's all about reaching out. Though you reach 300 people, that 300 people will take the initiative to go further and then share the burden. I understand. Very good. Very well said. And we have a caller for us live right now. So, ma'am, please go ahead and then ask your question. I see you on call right now.
Sneha here. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Swetaram, and then Mr. Kiran Chellapalli and Mr. Gopal Krishnan Kumar Vedula. It's really nice to hear everybody, and then, it's really inspiring to hear the different, solutions for different problems. I have a question to Swetaram. This is regarding Infosys, because he worked for Infosys and they were with, Youth for Seva. I have seen a music video released by Pyasi, which is, played in Infosys Mysore campus. And then it was inspired by Shekhar Kapoor. And then, the whole video was really good. So my question to you is, what actually the role Infosys plays for the, water conservation? I mean, could you please tell, is it associated anyway with the Youth for Seva? Just could you please let me know more about anything
I was with Infosys 4 years back, and I'm not very sure of how Infosys is doing it right now. Or as Youth for Seva, we are working. We have a lot of volunteers from Youth for Seva volunteering. From Infosys volunteering with us. But exactly what role as a company or as a CSR initiative they are playing a role, I'm not really aware of.
Okay. Actually, I work for Infosys too. And I saw your profile, you work for Infosys, and I thought, is it anywhere linked? Because this music video I saw a few days back, and then, I thought maybe there is something more Infosys doing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really not aware.
One point in Infosys, what they are doing, they are implementing a lot of good points to green their business.
Yeah.
And they have implemented a lot of energy efficiency practices, water conservation practices, and they are following a lot of green practices. I can send you the details and their presentation to you in the next meeting. I can send it to you. At present, I don't have immediately with me, but they have done a lot of these things. And HSBC building in Hyderabad also, that is also is a green building. They have also done a lot of points on the water conservation and on the other points. HSBC.
Yeah, why I asked this question is I have I don't know how much easy question or critical. See, in the Infosys Electronic City campus, unlike other parts of Bangalore where there is scarcity, we never had any water scarcity. And it needs a lot of water to have those gardens and all in Mysore, everywhere, and all campuses. How come, like in the city, they have that access to the water? It's a question always when there are parts of the city have scarcity. So do they have any mechanism or, I'm just curious.
They may be using recycled water or STP plant water. Nowadays, all these IT industries in high-tech city, they have STP plants.
Okay.
And they are using that water for gardening and other things. They are not giving the fresh water or maybe one of these places. Infosys information, I will send it to you, or you can get in touch with Hyderabad.
Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Sneha. And Gopal garu, it'll be good if you could send us to NRISamay@gmail.com. I'll make sure I'll send it and the information.
I'll send it to you, the Infosys information.
Thank you.
And few more companies who have done this.
Thank you. And on a closing note, because we are running short of time here, I have 4 different people who are interacting with the youth and individuals who are very passionate about water conservation. We have Gopal Krishna garu, who's an activist and who's closely watching what the government is doing and closely watching what the society is doing. And we have from the corporate side, we have Kumar Vedula garu. On a closing note, let me come to Swati garu. Swati, if you could just enlighten on how youth can respond to this problem and what would be our message to youth so that we can tackle this problem?
Yeah. So one thing I've always believed in and what Youth for Seva is also trying to do is Swami Vivekananda said that one corner of the world that you can be sure of changing is yourself. So as much as it's very good that we are trying to implement a lot of solutions. So I would urge everybody to take that one step and try to do whatever bit they can. So that I think all that, like we say, little drops of water, and I think it really applies very well here, makes a mighty ocean. So saving every little drop counts, and so I would request everybody to be the change that they wish to see, like Mahatma Gandhi said.
Excellent, excellent. Very well said, very well said. And Kiran garu, on an individual front, can you appeal to individuals on a realistic scale? What is that they could do? Can you come up with something, a message to the people who are listening?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So again, it's the same thing what Swati said, right? You just have to realize that this is, when we grew up in schools, we were taught that water is something that is not scarce. You will have it unlimited amount of water and whatnot, right? But now that has changed. It is a very scarce resource. And unless you want your own future, and maybe you may not be thinking about kids, I am, but you might not be. But, you have to think about your own future. Do you want to really live in this, from what Gopal Krishna garu has said, in some localities where you have to fight literally to get your bucket full of water, right? Do you want to get to that stage? And as Swati has put it excellently, you have to start it from your own self, right? If you can't go preach without you yourself practicing it. So I would say that's all that I would say. You need to start look at introspect within yourself. Look at it. What is it that I am doing? And then start looking at, what else I can tell the other people.
Very good. Gopal Krishna garu, you have been an activist, closely watching government schemes, and as well you have come up with some important points about the green buildings and other things. Can you, on a closing note, enlighten our listeners what could be done right now so that they can imbibe a few ethics to save the water?
One thing you should, as these people are told, we should change our lifestyles wherever it is possible and go to a more simpler lifestyle. For example, I don't drink bottled water anywhere when I go. I either take my own bottle or I drink the filtered water there, number one. I don't drink the fuzzy drinks like Coke and other things which consume a lot of water. I mean, even coffee and tea also I drink it in a limited way because they also waste a lot of water. 1 cup of coffee, about 40 liters of water. That is how I calculate and do, and I tell these things. And the government has made those things, and I follow all those things. Even in our house, only STP plants we have not made, but we have made the rainwater harvesting pits. We have made the solar hot water system. We use cooking on the solar parabolic cookers, and we use the composting. All these points we take care, and we tell to the people around us. And wherever we go, we even teach the younger guys that, I mean, they should respect the water. And so we should go for the best efficient fitting so that legal things will be avoided at the design stage and propagate about these things. And as a holistic approach we should take towards the water, not just, I mean, what we are consuming, what everyday consumption, total, the T-shirt, what we use, the burger, what we eat, how much water they, I mean, can make. We just order just like that when we go there, 4 coffee, 5 tea. We don't know how much water goes into to produce that. So these things are important things. So I'll send you those things also, what is the water footprint of the different products. That will be also useful. And many people, once they know about that, a change can come in their way of thinking.
Excellent.
Thanks for the opportunity given.
Oh, very well said. Very well said. It's a great honor to have you, sir. And I wanted to quickly ask you. So you're saying that you're having rainwater harvesting setup at your house. So do you feel that you're much better than anybody else who's not having or who's not thought of RWH plant their own house?
Yes, we are very much. I mean, in some places where they are not taken seriously, they are buying tankers regularly. Same place, next by the side of the houses. Same colony, number of houses. Who have not bothered, who have not installed these things. They buy the tankers regularly and they spend money on that. And tankers also, as Mr. Kiran has told, they don't come in 2-3 days nowadays. It is
very
demand and supply. Demand and supply.
On a corporate side, Kumar Vedula garu, can you enlighten our listeners that it is not that big a deal? It's definitely doable, possible, and it's absolutely simple to really get this going. Can you, from a corporate side, how can you enlighten our listeners? How can you say that? Can you say that these are things that we could implement?
Sure. Gone are those days when the big government used to provide for for everybody's water needs. Now the time has come for each individual house or apartment or flat to become more of a self-sufficient unit for, if not for around the year, at least for parts of the year or for most part. Okay, so there's a big need for that, and simple measures like one of the things Ms. Swati was telling, leaving the tap running while brushing the teeth or cleaning the dishes would waste at least 20 liters per day per person, at least. Okay, so if people can use instant on, instant off taps, which are very affordable now, and in fact, to raise awareness among people, on World Water Day 2012, we have gone ahead and installed one such tap in a public place in Visakhapatnam for raising the awareness among people about these taps. So yes, every house, every individual person can definitely conserve water. And the second thing that I want to tell is most of the panelists, and in fact, some of the users too, we have beaten to death the argument on how much water we can save from rainwater harvesting. Now let me give you another perspective. It's not just saving water, it's also about how less water you are releasing into the stormwater drainage network. Because the less water that you release, there's less pressure on the public utility, which is the stormwater drainage network. Because most urban places in India or cities in India experience urban flooding during the monsoon periods and even when there's a cyclone or something, and that is one of the main reasons is the water is not being detained or retained for reuse or even for recharge into the ground or even just detained for a short period. that's the main reason for now the government trying to replace the overwhelmed stormwater drainage network, and we cannot spend money for a country like India, which has several other needs. We can't spend money for because of mismanagement of water resources. We cannot spend more money on trying to get bigger and bigger stormwater drains. So that's another aspect too as far as rainwater harvesting goes, because if people can do rainwater harvesting, you can put less pressure on the government when it comes to upgrading the stormwater network. So that's another thing, because we have worked on an urban flooding project in Visakhapatnam. We have completed it, and our main recommendation is people detaining water, and for that we have suggested rainwater harvesting. So, yeah, thank you. That's what I want to tell.
Excellent.
I'm done. Yeah, thank you.
Yep. So I think we are almost closing the show right now. So thank you very much, each one of you, Swati Ram garu, Kiran Challapalli garu, Gopal Krishna garu, and Kumar Vedula garu. It's a great honor to have all of you for today's show, and it's very resourceful, insightful information that you have given. So we will try to slice this important inputs from each one of you and then put it on Facebook and wherever possible on YouTube. You can view this probably in the next few hours on YouTube. So thank you very much. I appreciate all your time, and it's worth everyone's time who's listening.
Thank you, Srikanth, for providing this opportunity for us to share our ideas and thoughts. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, friends. Thank you.
Thanks, Srikanth. Thank you, Srikanth. Thank you, Mr. Swati. Thank you, Mr. Gopal Krishna garu and Mr. Kiran for for this great opportunity to discuss with you on an important issue like this. And also thanks to Dr. Stephen Burian, without whose support we would never have done any of the rainwater harvesting work in India or in the U.S. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Excellent, excellent. Very good time to remember such great people who have contributed their part. And from NRISamay, friends, this is it for today. Please tune in, and tomorrow we have a show coming up with Supreme Court lawyer Prashant Bhushan, the Team Anna member as well. So Prashant Bhushan will be taking all your calls. He will answer everything. And we have wonderful questions coming up. Everyone is talking about corruption once it is done. And we have few people who have already posted questions asking why not the root of the corruption be addressed, that is Official Secrecy Act. If we tweak the Official Secrecy Act little bit, they're saying that the corruption would even not happen. So we're getting wonderful questions. Tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9:30 p.m. India time. We will have Prashant Bhushan on the show. We hope you all will tune in. Thank you very much, friends around the world, wherever you are. This is NRISamay signing off. Thank you.
रब से दुआ जी